So the NBA draft is today, lads, and we're gonna be talking about who I think is gonna go number one. And I will be live for this. So if you guys do want to watch a live stream, subscribe to this channel. We will be live for the entirety of the the first round tonight. I don't know what we're gonna be doing tomorrow, but we will be live without question for the entirety of the first round. But in this video, we are going to be we're going to be talking about the three players that could go number one. And we're going to be talking about which of them I think are going to be the number one pick and a scenario like why they could go number one if they do go number one. So anyway, obviously the Atlanta Hawks have the first pick, and the first player is Zaccharie Risacher. If Zaccharie Risacher goes number one, then the Hawks are keeping their pick. No ifs, ands, or buts about that. If Risacher goes number one, the Hawks are keeping that pick because he is, as people have called, he is a connective piece on offense. Like, a lot of people are trying to say that that's like a negative thing for a number one pick because like he doesn't necessarily need the ball that much. And at the same time, it's not like he's this unbelievably good scorer. He's not going to be doing anything absolutely crazy, but he still is like not an out and out creator. He's not going to create well at all. But what he is going to do is he is going to be a good shooter. He's going to not get in anyone's way. He's going to play defense. He's tall. He's long. He's your prototypical NBA wing. He's someone that you'd be really happy with getting at the 7th pick in a draft, but this is not a draft where there's that much like top end talent. But at the same time, if they're looking for somebody to fit right in, it's him, because I don't think that that Sarr comes in and starts straight away for the team. Then there's Alex Sarr. Alex Sarr, I think the more I'm thinking about it, the more I think Alex Sarr is going number one. The more I think Sarr is going number one because the Wizards don't want Risacher. The Hawks don't want Sarr. They can get something. They can get something because the Wizards really want Sarr. So if they want, they can draft Sarr and then go to the highest bidder and be like, look, we're taking him. You're giving us your pick and something else for him. Whether that be like pick number, I don't know, let's just say pick number 4 and something else for San Antonio. If San Antonio wants Sarr, it could be pick number 2 and a first like 5 years down the line for Washington. So you just don't know. I think he's going to be selected number one, but I also think there's a very, very slight chance that he goes to Atlanta. I think that it's a near guarantee that he's playing for a team not named Atlanta, but I think he goes number one. Because what Alex Sarr is look, he is the one guy in this year's draft that I would say would be near the top in another draft. I don't think Risacher would be near the top in most other drafts, but I think if you go, say, the 2023 NBA draft, I still think Sarr is in that conversation for top 5, whereas I don't think Risacher maybe necessarily is. So that's what I do think when it comes to Alex Sarr, what type of a level of player he's at. He is a high ceiling, low floor type guy because he doesn't really have much as of right now offensively. Like, a lot of people are going and showing workouts at OTE and being like, look at this guy's handle for 7-1. Like, look, we're not judging our centers by their ability to handle the ball. He's not a unicorn like a Victor Wembanyama, so we're not judging a center's ability by the ability to handle the ball. And I think a lot of the like intrigue around him is stuff that isn't going to really affect how he plays on the court. But when it comes to Alex Sarr, I would say he's more than likely going to be the number one pick, but he's not going to Atlanta. That's just no ifs, ands, or buts about it. If he's number one, he's not going to Atlanta. And then we have Donovan Clingan. Now, this is the least likely number one overall pick. This is Atlanta are keeping this pick and want a big. This is Atlanta are keeping this pick and we're probably looking to trade Clint Capella. That is what Donovan Clingan means. And for people being like, it's crazy to take Donovan Clingan, I don't really think it's crazy to take him, because if you really want him, take him at 1, because you don't know if he's going to be there at 4. And also, if you look at the way that this draft is, it's not that much crazier a pick than taking Risacher at number 1. He's someone that isn't a number 1 in the vast majority of drafts. He's not a top 8 pick in a lot of drafts. I think Risacher is the better player, but it's not a crazy pick if you just want a defensive big center. If that's what your goal is, if that is what your goal is, Donovan Clingan is a perfect player. But if Donovan Clingan goes number 1 in this draft, it will tell you one thing and one thing for sure. Atlanta are keeping this pick. If Donovan Clingan goes number 1 or Risacher goes number 1, the Hawks are keeping the pick. They are not getting rid of, they are literally not drafting one of these players, because on the open market, on the open market, Alex Sarr has got more value than either of these players. Alex Sarr has the most value out of these 3 on the open market, but I think for the Atlanta Hawks, the most value is Risacher, and I think for some teams, the most value is going to be Clingan. But I think if you take Donovan Clingan number 1 in this draft, you've overthought it, and you've drafted a bust, because I don't think he's going to be an absolute bust, but you've drafted a guy that is a borderline lottery pick level talent at number 1. I think with Risacher, there's you at least know what you're going to get. You at least know he's going to fit. You at least know okay, yeah, his archetype of player has had extreme success recently, especially in the NBA. So you know what you're kind of getting with Zaccharie Risacher. But then obviously when it comes to Alex Sarr, this is your high upside pick. This is what teams go for at number 1. You've got this guy who is a 7-foot athlete, has a not horrendously bad jump shot, will play defense from the get-go. But for me, I just think one of the reasons I'm so low on him is that I think going from France, where you're in the shop win, you're at the best level of basketball as far as translating in world basketball to the NBA. As far as style of basketball and level of basketball, the closest you're going to get is the Pro A in France. And he left France to go to overtime elite. He went to OTE from France and then went to Australia, and not even back to France. He went to Australia to play in a worse league than the NBA, or in the Pro A in the NBL. And not even a worse league, athleticism-wise, not even comparable to the NBA. If you want to say college is the best, I think the reason why so many great players come out of college is because there's more of them in college. There's a lot more elite players in college, young players than anywhere else. But I think as far as stylistically and similarity to the NBA, the French Pro A is the best league, which I think Risacher was better in the Pro A than Sarr was in the NBL. So he's obviously better right now. But I'm just so... He did not play in the Pro A, and he's French. For me, it's not even that he didn't play in Pro A. He went to OTE. He left Real Madrid. He was with Real Madrid, as far as I'm aware, and then went to OTE and didn't stick it out, potentially getting in with EuroLeague, into the best EuroLeague team. He didn't want to learn from NBA level players into probably actually the second best EuroLeague team. They didn't win the tournament, and they were the best team in EuroLeague, and he chose to leave that. And then Donovan Clingan going number 1 is just wild. That's just wild, but it could happen. It genuinely could happen.